Well, another hard-fought loss. I thought both teams played their hearts out. I thought, they out-executed us at the end and made the plays they needed to make. We got in overtime. We fought back, got in overtime, and we, had a couple opportunities with possession of the basketball, turned them over, and like I said, we just got to execute better in those situations, and we have to keep on, working to get better as a team.
What'd you think when you were able to force that overtime? And it looked unlikely after Darius missed the shot, but he perfectly executed the miss, got the rebound, got fouled again. What was to have a second chance like that? How were you feeling at that point?
We've been in so many overtime games, so for us, that is nothing new. So we already know what we're trying to do when we get in overtime. It's just unfortunate, it didn't work out for us. But I thought we gave ourselves a chance. Darius hits the three in the corner. We go up by three. Then we have back-to-back possessions that we need to execute and continue to build because we got to stop. And in both possessions, we turned it. And it happens in basketball. You can't really control it. I always look at me first, more so than my guys, and got to be better to make sure I help them, do what we need to do.
Turnovers, but costly in that they scored off of them as well.
No, absolutely, Trey. Definitely. Of course, we've been talking about that all year long. Points off turnovers, 20-12, 7-point game. And so the little things we got to do, like we're right there. We have to overcome the little things, like what's separating us right now from when we're winning and now that we're not winning. I think it's those things. It's the points off turnovers. It's the second chance points, things of that nature. We've got to clean up because everything else is equal with the teams, except we're losing that battle. And like I said, I look at me. I don't look at my guys. I have to be better at what we're teaching and what we're working at with them. I take responsibility, and we're going to figure it out because I got pride at what I do, and I know our team has pride, and we got to get it turned around.
So
Coach.
What's changed from doing those little things that were leading to victories to now?
Well, I think, no excuses, but it's been disjointed for us as a team. The last 3 weeks has been disjointed. Ever since we played the East Carolina game, we haven't had our full complement of guys on the court. DJ, he made some wonderful plays, and you saw he's a little rusty on some other plays. He's literally just getting back, so probably practice and a half under his belt. I mean, that's tough to play 37 minutes, and you've been sitting out for 3 straight weeks. So, of course, he's not going to be as sharp as he was earlier in the season. C.J. Kelly was never practicing, but he was playing games, but never really practicing because he got banged up in the game. He had 30, and so he hadn't been back to himself as far as where he's going to be. Then you lose Michael Durr in that, a little bit before that, you lose Mike. And now you're talking about 3 starters who were instrumental in helping you do what you do are either back, but are still getting their legs under them and playing the way we used to play, and or not back. And that's not, like I said, it's my job at the end of the day to find a way regardless to win. And we believe in our players. I've always said our strength is in our numbers. Then we have to show that by what we do on the court. And so I stand by that. We have to get better. We have to find a way to win.
Was that
was back today? How did he hurt you?
Oh, Jamil, we know what Jamil does. He's really strong around the basket. He finished well. They did a good job of isolating him down and off of ball screens, and he played well in that position. We missed some assignments. We talked about that being something that they really emphasized is that look. And so for us, in practicing and guarding and in practicing and walking through it in practice, I thought we had a firm grasp of it. And then we're playing, I was even reiterating it during the game, like we know this is going to be the first look off of that every time. So make sure we're in the right places. And a few times our guys were stuck in no man's land where they weren't really there to really stop it, and they weren't really holding their man out. So, we have to be better and get the hesitancy from our guys. And that's us, like I said, teaching and make sure they understand exactly what that is.
How have you seen Jamil's game change or his growth since he was here?
He's grown. I can see it in the spring. He was still with us. I can see him starting to, understand, what it takes to be a good basketball player at this level. So I saw him doing those things, and I was really happy for him. I love Jamil. Jamil's a great guy. I love his family. And, and sometimes for him, change is always difficult. But sometimes change can be good. You know what I mean? And so for Jamil, to have the opportunity there, it's working out for Jamil, and I'm happy for Jamil. I really am because, what are we in this thing for? We're not happy for young players. I wish they, with us, but if there's somewhere else too, I'm always going to root for him. He was part of our family for years.
one of the big battles in the game was Jamil versus Lahat Tune. He had a season-high day as well. What could you say for his performance today?
I thought Lahat did a great job for us. I thought he bounced back well. Coming off a game where he didn't have his best performance versus Houston, I thought he really stepped up. I thought he made some good basketball plays for us on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. I mean, the man has 13, 4, and 4 steals. So he was very active, and he played the role we wanted him to play. And I'm happy for him because, you know, it's been a tough few weeks for him as he's been adjusting in that starting role with Jamil out. He's finding himself now in a different position, as well as a number of our players, Jalen, guys who, you know, different roles, Suggs. Everybody's role has now changed because these guys are coming back and playing more and being inserted, which means their roles are changing. And there's an adjustment to that. There's nothing, you know, we can do other than keep pushing them and keep teaching until it clicks for us.
Coach, the story today was definitely bench points. 50 points from the bench from Temple, 16 from Jamil Reynolds. You have 13 from Miller as well, and the pick and roll as well. How do you look going forward in the next couple of weeks? What do you emphasize?
Well, bench points for them, just, you know, for clarity, I mean, you're absolutely right. But a large part of the bench points come from Battle and from Dunn, who come off the bench, who are really starters. So it's kind of in a unique situation. Everybody knows they're 2 all-league players, but they come off the bench for them. Those are 2 of the best scorers in our league or in the country. No one's false for that. So when they subbing those guys in, yeah, they're going to score. They score against everyone. They were scoring the starters averaging 20 points a game. So they just have a different role now, but it works for them. But both of those kids started last year and the year before as freshmen and sophomores. So then Jamil, of course, so he had a 16. So we had 17 bench points. He had 16. I don't think anybody else really scored out there, you know, other than 2 real starters and him. And so, you know, we understood that. I thought we did a good job on Dunn, kind of slowed him down. He's a tough cover. You know, we held him to 8. But then now you're trying to also hold Battle down, who was also a 20-point-a-game scorer last year before he was injured. And now you're trying to hold him down, and we just didn't hold him down to a level we needed to.
You jumped out to that big league 2010 there. What did they do different to fight back into the game there?
Well, 2 things happen. You know, this is what happens in that situation. We jump out to a 10-point lead, and it's early in the game, so there's a lot of game left. So they're not panicking. They're an experienced basketball team. That team has been together for years, that same group. So they're not going to panic in that situation. You know, where we hurt ourselves is when we got up at 10, we got to make sure we continue to execute what got us the lead. I thought we came down and had some few missed possessions where, not offensively, but, well, I'm sorry, yes, offensively, where offense that hurt our defense, where they got runouts, whether, you know, we took a quick shot that we probably shouldn't have took, or we forced a play we shouldn't have forced. Those are the things that we have to clean up with our group. And that's them understanding, learning each other, trusting each other, and those plays can be, you know, we can turn those plays into positives for us. But when teams have made them runs against us, it's basically been, you down. Of course, when you're down, just like when we're down, the intensity picks up, it ratchets it up. And then, you know, we have to be poised enough and play with enough composure when it ratchets it up. Like most of the time this year we have, where we're able to still sustain what we're trying to do. I thought when the intensity ratcheted up today, I thought we must have turned it over 2 or 3 times or took bad shots 2 or 3 times, and that led them to easy baskets, and that led them to them having the momentum and us no longer having the momentum.
You've got another one of those week-long breaks. You just had one a couple weeks ago. You're shaking your head. Is that good or bad, or how do you approach it? It is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, we can't do anything about it. The break is here. We're gonna try to make the most out of it. I wish we could just turn around and play again tomorrow. You know, that's where I am. But we have a week to sit on this and sit on where we are, and we also have that week to figure out, you know, what we have to do to fight our way out of it. And so that's what we're gonna use the week for, is to get better, to figure out a way to fight our way out of it. And, you know, those guys who haven't been out there as much will at least have a week now to be in and continue to get reps, which I think will help our continuity out there some too.
Coach, 15 turnovers to 10 assists today. The ball movement was a struggle on the court today. Is that something you emphasize in the weeks going forward?
Definitely. I mean, I look at that all the time. Like they had 17 turns, but they had 19 assists.
Exactly.
So you're talking about 19 assists on 26 made field goals. That's what you want to see. You know, we got the ball died in too many hands, and we, you know, too much dribbling going on, and not enough ball movement and player movement, which is how we play. And so last few games, we've had 10 assists in each game. We're 10-8 versus Houston, and we're 10-15 now in this game. It's us understanding to move the ball, but again, when you got guys coming back and not involved as much, you know, those things, you know, you take it for granted, but they have to still get back into that rhythm again of doing the things that we've done to be successful. And they will, because it's not like they don't want to do it. It's just, you have to get yourself, you know, back into the, you know, basically into the swing of what we're doing this time of the season.
Coach, you've talked about being disjointed. How do you take that and kind of like get your team mentally ready for the next game now that you're on a 4-game losing streak? How much is that mental preparedness?
Well, it's gonna say a lot about who we are. You know, it's gonna say a lot about our character and how we fight. You know, I thought we fought tonight. Like I said, it was ended up being an overtime game, and we lose to a good team that's playing really well right now. And we just have to understand, it starts with that. It starts with how hard we're competing on every possession. How hard are we competing? It starts with understanding the value of every possession. Understanding the value, meaning that we have the basketball, we value that possession. We don't give it back to them. Defensively, we value that possession. How good are we going to defend where we don't give up any easy baskets? People are going to score, but you don't want them scoring easy baskets. You don't want them to score around the basket or in the paint. And so those are areas that we got to cover. I mean, almost half their points, 30 points, came in the paint. So these are things that we've got that we can control. And so what we're going to work on this week are those things as we watch the film. We're going to study, you know, the tendencies of what's hurt, study the tendencies of what went well for us, and we're going to try to build from there.
How much longer do you expect Michael Lear to be out?
I'm not sure. I mean, he's not coming back in next week. I don't think that's happening. So, but other than that, I have no idea when he's coming back. He had surgery in his hand, so that's a whole nother ball game. But I do expect him back, and his return will also help us because it gives us another big, old big, physical big down low. He's a banger. And so does that help us? Definitely. It helps us on the defensive end. It helps us on the rebounding end.
And in the meantime, a game like this for Lahat today, what can that do for him, until Michael's back?
Well, I think it's going to help Lahat's overall confidence. I was feeling the last few weeks, because he got thrust into a role he didn't expect. It's tough. And so he wasn't producing to the level I know he wanted to, but that puts a lot of pressure on you. So I was happy to see him bounce back and respond and have a game like he had today offensively and just his activity level around the basket. I thought he did a good job for us. He's a good player. I think he still has room to grow. And I just hopefully, it's tough because you're losing, that he can at least take that solace out of it where individually, he knows he can be successful in these areas. And I think that helps us get better as we move forward too.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.